A couple new capabilities have been added to the optimization function within ASAP 2009. The first item is that variables, design objectives, and penalty functions, as long as they are defined contiguously within your ASAP file, can be selected simultaneously. And the other is that the state of the optimization can be saved as a separate ASAP file, which will remove the requirement to continually redefine the variables and objectives each time you load in the file. Let's take a look at how this works. The first thing we'll need to do, and this is also a slight change from the previous version, is we now have an Optimize item on the main menu bar. So I'm going to go to Optimize and select Optimize Script. And this will put ASAP in its optimization mode, and will also open up the Optimization Setup Summary dialog box. You'll notice in my script here I have it broken down so we can see separate areas of the file simultaneously. I'm going to select these two lines that are my design variables simply by holding down my Shift key and my mouse button, and just right mouse click and select Define Design Variables, and I can add my ranges as appropriate. Okay. And now I can come over here to where my design objectives are listed. And you'll notice in between these lines with the design objectives, I have comment lines. I also have comments on the same lines as some of my objectives. And that's entirely acceptable. ASAP will still be able to simply recognize which of these lines are ASAP command code and simply put those items in my design objectives table. And you'll notice the comment in my script file said to disable this simply so we monitor it rather than use it as part of my optimization. So I've now defined all of my variables and design objectives with simply a couple of clicks of my mouse button. What I'm going to do now is to show how the optimization state file is saved, and to do that what I'm going to do is reduce my total number of trial solutions to 10. So what ASAP will do is go through the optimization for 10 cycles and then stop. I'm going to use the downhill simplex form of optimization. So I'm just going to click on my Start Optimization button, and ASAP will go through and examine the solution, try to find its location in solution space based upon my parameter ranges, do a couple of test cycles through the system, and then it will start on my 10 optimization cycles, giving me my figure of merit for each of those trial solutions as we proceed through. Now, the 10 cycles we're doing are not going to be sufficient to actually hone in on a real good solution for this design, but it will show us how the optimization save state works. You'll notice we've now reached the end, the exhausted number of trials. So I'm going to select my script file one more time. And again, on the Optimize menu, the items we're used to seeing, such as printing a report, saving a system under evaluation, are all available to us still, but we now have an additional option of saving the optimization state. So I'm going to select this option, and I'm going to save this simply as bsimplex with the extension OSF for optimization saved file. And just click on Save. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is close my current input. Normally this would happen when maybe I'd reached the end of the day and I was stopping my work for tonight and would come back in and tomorrow. But rather than exiting ASAP, I'm simply going to close all my files and restart my ASAP kernel again to let everything be fresh. You'll now notice in the ASAP workspace there's an additional type of ASAP file called the OSF file. So what I'm going to do is just come over here and open the existing OSF file. And you'll notice it brings up the optimization setup summary box. It has my variables and my objectives. It also remembers my exit criteria as well as my optimization method. I could add more variables. I could change enabled state of variables and operands and objectives, anything I could have done previously. And you'll notice ASAP opened up in the optimization mode, and you can tell that because we don't see the color syntax highlighting of ASAP commands. But part of this optimization saved file is it also remembers the results of the previous optimizations. So if I come over here and say start optimization, the first thing it's going to do is run through those initial results. So if I choose to plot out this data at the end, I'm going to start from the original starting point. So I'll see all of the solutions that were examined in case I want to maybe do some post-processing on all of the data. Now we'll let it run through those 10 trials, and it will stop after those. And again, obviously, we'd want to run more trial solutions, but this is just to show you how the feature works. Another capability you have with the OSF file is you can open it in any text editor, and I've chosen one that gives me color highlighting based on the ASAP script file, and I can modify this file, or more importantly, it's going to allow me to reuse code. And in particular, say I had a very complex set of merit function operands or design objectives, maybe something like a set of ELTM test points. You'll notice if I scroll down to the bottom of my file, I have all of my design objectives and my variables clearly indicated in a set format. And what I could do is copy and paste this data in between files, allowing me to have the code reuse capabilities that I currently have in a standard ASAP file with simply using $read commands. What this will do is, if I have to perform a common optimization function many times, I don't have to regenerate the merit functions. I can simply copy and paste between files, carefully following the format defined here within a text editor, and I can do the optimization as necessary.